Hello world, welcome to the 67th climate change emergency protest. We're here in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I'm broadcasting from home, USA. It is March 20th, 2020. Reason why I'm broadcasting from home is because we're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic, and a lot of people might think it's just scare tactics, but in reality we all need to be responsible and stay away from others and keep our physical distance. And so here we are. Presently, I lost my part-time job, and my wife has been on job shutdown as well because the governor determined that it's not good for people that are not in life-sustaining activities to be working with others. And I sort of agree with it. The problem is if you don't have money, you kind of, in this capitalistic society, there's not a whole lot of mercy given as to what the eventual outcome is about paying your bills. But we'll deal with that and worry about that later. This is Captain the Rooster, and we have a couple other chickens, hens, so at least we get eggs as well. So looking forward to when it becomes more summerish here, or spring-like, so that we can have weeds and give the chickens some free greens. So right now the coronavirus is doubling every 4 days. If you do the math, it's 30% a day increase or so. So theoretically every 4 days, 5 days, 3 days, 1 week, things double up, and you have twice as many as you did the week before or the couple days before. And Italy kind of figured it out that if they went into lockdown, it kind of slows down the coronavirus, and they're at 14% increase per day, but they already went rocketing through and had a ton of people catch coronavirus. So I think their death rate is much higher than what China's whole death rate was. The question is whether China is actually reporting the truth about no new cases of coronavirus, which I really am suspect of. I don't see how it's possible with 1 billion people that all of a sudden it just dried up and stopped. No matter how draconian your methods are about making it stop, you just can't make it stop. So if you want news, I really suggest you don't pay attention strictly to mainstream media. However, some of your media organizations in the United States you kind of have to watch, because that's where politicians and other people in charge broadcast from. But there's plenty of good information on YouTube as well as Facebook, and even Fox Television, which I never believed in before, but now they are reporting things finally after denying it for all those weeks as being a hoax and some plot to get Trump out of office, which is extreme paranoia, which is the way they're thinking. But now they are being factual, which is good. We all don't want to believe how bad things are right now, but evidently it's heading towards bad to worse to horrific right this second. Hopefully this sheltering in place or whatever will slow down the pandemic, and people won't catch it at an exponential rate, and it'll mitigate the inundation the hospitals and the health providers are feeling. So it doesn't mean we won't all get it, or 80% of us won't get it. It just means that at the rate we're getting it will be a lot slower. So that at least gives the healthcare providers a little bit of time to try to stay even, or just be well behind but not horrifically behind, so that everybody dies. Right now, you listen to the politicians and those who are supposedly in charge and in power. All they talk about is the economy. They never talk about nature. They never talk about how our capitalistic system has affected things. And when situations like this arise and you rely strictly on capitalism, that the system is a few steps away from collapsing. And right now we're getting a glimmer of what social collapse and governmental collapse is all about, and that you can have an idiot leader who doesn't take things seriously and leaves it up to local governments to take control, such as governors and state officials. And in reality, you need a president in charge that's actually taking command and making you feel like, A, he's not lying to you, which is not happening, and B, they're actually taking bold steps forward with a clear, concise plan. This smells of Vietnam, and there's no definite outcome set up or how he's going to handle things. He's reactionary. In fact, he doesn't want all these tests being done for coronavirus because it makes his numbers look bad. And my guess is the coronavirus within the country is a lot worse than what the numbers indicate. because not many people are getting the test, comparatively speaking. So, we have 300 some million people in this country, and I don't know how many tests were given, 80,000, 20,000, 2,000, who knows. But whatever it is, it's not nearly enough, to determine what the true fact is as to the level of infection. But, the test itself is just an indication of, it's reactionary in fact, because what it is that you don't test positive till you actually have it. So there's no preventative measures going on right now other than to stay in place and don't work. And what's going to happen is that if this persists, you're going to have a snowball effect, whereas if I don't get paid, I don't go out to eat, I don't buy this, I don't do that, to the next person, that happens to them, and it goes exponential, and that people just don't have money. And pretty soon you're looking at 25-30% unemployment. And it could be a really bad situation, and it's going to cause a social, if not a political, upheaval, because people will put up with it for a while, as long as money's coming in. But after that, people, when it comes down to food or political outlook, things change. And Fox Television is an example of that, whereas they were dogmatically following Trump, and now they're actually reporting, semi-facts as to what's happening. And it's very interesting to watch if you look at their past history since February 28th, when Trump was saying it was a hoax, and now it's a true fact as to what's happening, and Fox Television is actually on board now. So you can't keep saying that things like, we got to keep the economy humming along, because to say so is to stay within the same system we're in. And we're just going to, even if we get through this, there's going to be another pandemic or another situation due to climate change, and true social collapse will happen. And you cannot rely on capitalism to get you through this. Unlimited growth is called cancer. And that's what true capitalism is right now. And there's no one saying, when they say we got to keep the economy going, but they never say we got to keep nature going, or we got to set up outdoor facilities or things that people can do outdoor, and realize that what we're doing to this world is we're treating the air like a sewer. We just dump everything into the air, whether it's gasoline or smokestacks or whatever, and we treat our own world like a sewer. We're shitting in our own nest. And we treat the oceans just the same. Just dump in it, do whatever. It's okay, it'll recover. And now the oceans are starting to get us back. It's overheated, it's going more acid than ever before, and there are less fish than ever before. So eventually this all comes back to us, because we are all connected. There is no peeing end of the pool. One end of the swimming pool can be affected, and eventually it's going to affect everyone in the pool. So we got to reevaluate how we're thinking, and this coronavirus actually, in some respects, is a perfect opportunity to retool everything. The auto industry is shut down right now. There are many manufacturers that aren't working right now. There are people that aren't working, and it's a perfect opportunity to reevaluate whether you want medical coverage for everyone, so when these type of situations arise, you can handle as a group, and people aren't homeless or thinking that, hey, I don't have medical coverage, I'm not going to the doctor, or my deductible's too high, I'm not going to the doctor. There's many reasons not to go to the doctor, or many reasons not to do things, and if we don't take care of each other to a certain aspect, and I mean a good aspect, we have to raise all boats. If we don't take care of each other, we end up in a bad situation. You cannot have a situation where there are winners and losers and expect everyone to be okay in the long run. This pandemic situation is just a precursor of what is coming. And hopefully there won't be 2 or 3 things happening at once. This doesn't necessarily mean there's not going to be another pandemic on top of this pandemic, or another situation arising, and we're not ready for it. And this is a perfect opportunity to retool everything. So, we got to operate and think about what you want over the next few weeks or months as we're sitting at home, as to what kind of system do you want. It is, when you're at the bottom of the barrel, it's the perfect opportunity to think about what you want to put in that barrel in the future. And it is a good time to sit back and consider what's going on. You could have a whole greening of the whole United States and the world at this point, in that when people go back to work, you only have green jobs, people constructing things that help the electrical grid. You could have solar, wind. You could even have liquid thorium for nuclear energy, which is a lot safer than uranium. If you look up how liquid thorium is or if there's a meltdown, how that is controlled is way different than a uranium situation. So there are many aspects, and this is why, as Extinction Rebellion says, is that we need the truth from the government as to how bad things are, whether it's coronavirus or climate change, and we need to have almost immediate change in our thinking as far as the electrical or the fossil fuel industry goes. This is a perfect opportunity to dump the fossil fuel industry and create cars that are hybrids or strictly electrical at this point. We're very vulnerable to what's going on, as is the rest of the world. And Tesla had this Tesla Tower back in the 1930s or whatever that he developed, that if you hook up the electrical energy within the earth and transmit it through the airwaves and had a receiver on the other end, you would have free, unlimited energy for everybody. It's called a Tesla Tower. But no one even considers such things. You never hear the government uttering these things or anyone else. So there are a lot of things out there we could be doing, and this is why we need, as I said, for the third part for Extinction Rebellion, first you have the truth, then you have to reduce fossil fuel and carbon dioxide immediately and as fast as we can, which would at the very outset at 2025, not 2050. And then the third thing is we need to have citizens' assemblies, people getting together as more than one-on-one, whereas our illustrious leader thinks that he's the brainiac of them all and he has all the answers. And that's the mark of an idiot. You need people along to tell you no or have alternative points of view, and you can think things out and come up with alternate ideas. And if you've ever been with a group, 2 or 3 people at a time or 5, they have more ideas than what one individual person would have, and more than the 5 people would have. They bounce things off each other, come up with more constructive ideas, and you move forward from there. And you can come up with some fantastic ideas. So this coronavirus situation, as bad as it is an excellent opportunity to reevaluate what's going on and get to it, and really retool our entire thinking and our entire, not only economic system, but a political system too. Is a two-party system what you really want? Or do you just not quite feel comfortable in the Republican or Democratic Party? Are there other ideas out there or people that you might go, you know what, they're close to what I want, but not quite there? Maybe we should have 7 parties, and then everyone would have to work together rather than have one group in control and the other one fighting against them. So they're right, they're wrong. How about both parties are wrong, and it's 2 cheeks of the same ass? There's not much difference between the corporation of the right Republicans and a corporation of the Democrats. And is this really where you want to be? I find that if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, you're going to make a mistake, and you're going to keep repeating the same mistakes. So until that happens, that things change, we're going to go right back into this. And as I said, there's no guarantee there's not a second pandemic coming, or a third, or a fourth. So you think you're feeling devastation now. If something like that happens, we're off our feet and down for the count. So we better get it together as far as proposing different ideas as to what you really want, and the big whammy of them all is climate change, and that is coming, and no one's talking about it at all. And meanwhile, we're losing time tick-tock on that, and it's going to be a horrific situation, total social collapse, which will make this pandemic look like a joke. I mean, it's just an indication of where things are headed, and we really need to get it together. So hopefully soon, other people would come on board with this type of thinking and try to change things, or at least have talks on here and start talking about it, and writing ideas on Facebook or whatever media thing there is. So hope to see you next week. I guess I might end up doing this from home again, and the chicken says hi and bye, and catch you next week. I think that's the 27th of March. See you later.